So do you remember the old Geico commercials? Like back in the day, a long time ago when Geico started blowing up in the world?
Was there something like before the lizard?
I don't know if there was. Like to me, that was when Geico really started, was with the lizard. And it was this huge innovative idea. Then they brought the caveman in. And then from the caveman, they went back to the Geico Gecko or whatever his name is. And then they've stayed with that little character forever. But it seemed like after a couple of years, something shifted. I don't know. Did you get that sense? Like they went from being really innovative to just really repetitive of the same concept without the humor and without the excitement.
Probably sold to private equity.
Something I don't know. I don't know. Anyway, there's another. Oh, welcome to Grisora Live. We are here to help you to scale up your business when you're stuck so that your business can convert to run without you. Anyway, well, like I was saying, there was um on my drive down through Utah, which I used to make all the time. I drive less through that metropolis, but there was a company that had really innovative signs like 15 years ago, and it was amazing. They were extremely humorous, and they really led the field. And then everyone after that seemed like they leveled up their sign game for the billboards. And then it was fun to look at the billboards because they're all funny and engaging. But this was all about "We hear you." Well, I was driving down that same stretch just this last weekend, and that company is still using the "We hear you" mantra 15 years plus later, but they're not funny. And I was like, that like, does it matter in advertising? And I'd love your thought. Does it matter in advertising if you keep using that same message 15 years later? And if you do, is it important to keep it fresh, or is it more important to just make sure everyone on the planet believes that same thing about your company? So do you keep it engaging and exciting, and that's more important, or is it more important for everybody to just believe that about you, but they never think about you because your ads are so boring?
I think at some point you get beyond the point where you really need the really need to be able to break people out of their norm because you have the scale and so I know who you're talking about with this
Hmm.
and yeah, at first they were those were kind of innovative, and but yeah, they're kind of run of the mill now. And I think another example is Chick-fil-A. Like at first, the cows eat more chicken, spelled wrong with all the the different variations of the ad. But now it's just like, okay, I've seen 15 variations of that, so like, what else is there?
Right.
But they're still doing the same thing.
Hmm.
There's one on there's I'm pretty sure it's still there, but yeah. And then the other companies, some of those software companies, they had those like really innovative messaging where it was just like one word per billboard, but the billboards were spaced every several hundred yards or something.
Right. Right. Yep.
And they were very clearly communicated the message, and then everybody else started doing it, and it wasn't novel anymore.
Hmm.
So there's definitely something to be said for consistency. I mean, how many brands have been around for a while and still have the exact same slogan? And if it's a slogan, then maybe that works. But as far as like an advertising message, I don't know. I think it would come down to measuring it. Like, and I don't know how billboard advertising actually works,
Hmm.
but is there a way to measure the effect of the billboards separate from all the other advertising that these companies might be doing, and to know whether or not it's dropped off in
Well, and I
effectiveness?
don't know that it has to be billboard either, because it's the same message whether it's a billboard or somewhere else. You'll like the Geico Gecko, he's on TV all the time or on video ad all the time. And Chick-fil-A does far more than just billboards. But to me, like that question of, are we novel, innovative, or are we just boring and consistent? Which one is the proper one? I would argue that you need a little bit of both, but you will get to a point where the market has heard the message so much that it becomes stale to them. And if you don't think of a new way to present it to them and a new way to get their attention again, I think that the body will get to where it recognizes that input, doesn't have any emotional response to it, and tosses it right back into the trash heap.
Yeah, I agree with that, and I think I would say I have to say the answer for the companies is to actually do some A/B testing, like make the marketer actually do work, and I don't know if they are or not. I don't have direct insight into the company, but if you're in that situation, I would think that A/B testing would be the way to do like try something new and see what happens.
Right. Yeah, and you don't have to change your core message, but
No,
let's change the strategy of what we're communicating to people so that it feels fresh and feels engaging. You may still have your core differentiators as a brand, but you don't need to say it the same exact way for 15 years. That is not going to do you a lot of favors.
again, yeah, it would be really interesting to see the stats like on like what like how have their sales done? Like have they been able to continue growing, or are they stagnant? Have they declined?
Could you
Uh,
imagine the beer companies if they've run the same ad for 15 years basically? Like, the whole point of the beer companies is, "We make your party so fun and your life is so great when you're drunk that you can't believe," right? That's the same story. They all tell the same story.
same story. But yeah,
But and that's what that but every story is unique. Like, every picture, everything is unique and need to tie a moment because they are feeling that their ads feel innovative. I had a buddy that said that that someone should start an alcohol company that's called Drink Responsibly.
I can see that
Because
going over like a ton of bricks.
well, everybody says drink responsibly at the end of their alcohol. Like, everyone would be promoting for this one company.
Oh, that's fair.
What would
That's fair.
everyone else on the planet do instantly? Like, that would turn everyone on their head.
Oh yeah, man. And if you could get the yeah, if you get through the trademark issues with that, actually,
Right?
and actually get something.
But anyway, going back to all of that, the flip side to it is I have another good friend, and he was trying to promote his business. And he's getting out there, and he's sharing the message all the time. And he tells the story of he got so sick of hearing that same message over and over and over. And it was just this echo chamber in his head, the story, the same message. Oh, and he's getting tired of it and tired of it. And then someone else is like, well, when you're really sick and tired of the message yourself, you're just barely, as a small business, starting to penetrate the actual market.
Yeah, yeah, I think that's exactly right. It's you're going to get bored of your message long before anybody else does, because nobody knows you exist for the most part if you're a small business. Like
Yeah.
it's not something that you have to worry about. And this is something that I know I have struggled with and still do to a level with like the like content game. It's like you don't have to have completely innovative content every time you make a post or every time you put something out there. If you just repeated the same 7 messages on a daily rotating schedule, like you would like people like 90% of the people who saw that content or more probably would be seeing it for the first time. But after a month of doing that, you're bored out of your mind because like I want something new and fresh. And it's kind of the same thing that happens with business owners. They find something that works and then they get bored of it. And so then
Mhm.
they break their business so that they can have some excitement. Like I think it's just another level of that in marketing. Um,
I've always been impressed by Dave Ramsey because how many years has this guy had a radio show going? Like, it's been forever and a day. Like, the show's just always
yeah,
on the air. All he talks about is the same things. If I tuned in like 15, 20 years ago and listened, and then I get on his show and listen again today, nothing's changed. Like, there's some new technology maybe, but the principles he talks about identical every single day. He tells new stories. He's referencing things in the news, but it's the same story. And then people are calling in, but that's the same thing every time. Either someone's been stupid or someone's been smart. he compliments the smart and rips on the stupid. But the
Right.
guy, look what he's accomplished with his consistency, but it's not the same boring presentation. It's just the same underlying message.
But he's got some really good things going for him. Like he's completely clear. Like there's no ambiguity on what his message is. Like he has absolute clarity. It's like I'm sure that particularly in your line of work, that you've come across a number of businesses that have no idea how to say what it is that they do.
Yesterday, I was meeting with someone. Exact same thing came up. I'm like, well, what is it that differentiates you? Why do your customers want to work with you over everyone else? And they're like, "Uh, uh, and they really struggled for a long time to even have any concept of why their customers pick them over picking the competition. And it took me extracting from them a bit of information. And then I turned around and said, well, here's what you actually told me. And when I shared it with them, you could see the light bulb just, whoa, yeah, that is what sets us apart. And so that ability to understand what a brand is and what it is about a brand that attracts your ideal customer, that is an absolute pot of gold for a small business owner to be able to understand it and then stay true to that, but still be innovative in your communication around it.
Yeah, well, and I think for me, I know in my experience, tracking the results of changes has been critical. So, like
Mm,
for example, I did trade shows for a long time, and um, the booth, that's where I show my message. Like, what banners do I have? What brochures do I have? What, like, all the different things that I have in my booth. And one year, I decided I was going to get all kinds of fancy, and I was so proud of what I created. Like I had these big foam board printouts. It looked really nice with like like the 6 steps of this and a whole bunch of other information. And I just like basically filled up my 10 by 10 booth with all these different things. And
with a bunch of
I,
facts and figures, huh?
well, it was facts and figures. It was why you need what I sell and like all of the different things. And I was like, man, I was really proud. It looked really nice, I thought. I mean, it did look
Yeah.
nice, but it was so overwhelming to the customers or to the people there at the trade show, my potential customers. Like they'd like walk by, they'd look at it and they'd be like, I don't have time for that. And keep on moving. Like because basically what I'd done is I had like the messaging was good and I actually had it in brochure format, and the brochure was actually something people really liked. Like that actually
Mhm.
worked for me. But I had extracted the brochure pages and made them very large format to sit in my booth. And was that something that, and I had information people want to sit down and read, not something that they can see in passing. And so I think the mode that you're giving that message in is super important. I did a lot better with the picture of, this is what we do. Want one? Than having my um, all the other information that I had go along with it. And so that
100%. You
so being simple and clear is super important. And like you use the example of Dave Ramsey, like he does that. Like there's no question, and he's specific in who he helps.
right.
Like that's another piece of bringing this clarity in here is we've got to know who we're targeting. Because and I probably and I feel like I overuse his example, but most people have probably never heard it. It's like, if you, let's say you're looking for a lawyer, you need a law firm. It doesn't matter what the reason is,
Okay.
but law firm A says we do business, we do divorce, we do real estate, and they list like 15 different things that they do, and it's 2 people that work there.
Two attorneys in the law firm specializing in
Specializing in everything. Or you have the law firm that's like, we do X and it's exactly what you need. I was like, which one are you going to pick? I mean, to me, I think it's obvious to everybody. You're going to pick the guy who just does the one thing that you need because that's all he does.
Yep.
And so,
Yeah, in fact, going along with that, I know a guy who needed an attorney for a very specific situation, and that situation, it could have blown up into high six figures, and they're like, "Oh, great, we got another problem to deal with." And it was somebody it someone was just trying to extract money from the business owner. I had a guy tell me once, as soon as you get perceived to be a little successful, the giant target gets painted on your back and people get mad at you because of your perceived success, and they think you don't deserve it and they try and take it from you. And this is one of those situations. Someone completely unjustified is coming after this guy and his company. And so they go out and they're looking around, they're like, okay, how do we stop this off at like number, we just don't even want to go down this road. We don't want the headache of this. We don't want the distraction of it. They went out and they found the law firm in America that specializes in this one thing, and their rates are high 4 figures an hour. These are not cheap attorneys. And they
Right.
said, take care of this, please. And I think it was like 2 or 3 hours later, the issue's been resolved. And so they saved themselves by going to that specialist who knows every intricate detail. That, and the other people just see the letterhead of who's representing them and their knees start knocking and they run off. And exactly like you're saying, that person is a specialist and a stated specialist, and people are going to flock to that. When your message is that clear that we are specialists in this thing, people flock to it. But the other thing that you brought up is at the trade show, it's this amazing, amazing situation because you have people walking through the door, and the typical anticipation for these people is, one, they're on an adventure, so to speak. Like, what kind of freebies am I going to get today? Who am I going to talk to? What's going to be fun? What am I going to see? It's a day away from the job, a day away from work, whatever. They're walking through, and as they're walking through, they're kind of checking every booth out. Like, what's over here? What's over here? And in the moment that they're in that walk by, you don't want to dump on them. You want to be casting a hook out there that has the exact lure or the exact bait that is what they're looking for. And they're saying, man, I am really struggling with X. And then you toss that one little hook out in front of everybody, and the people that walk by that gravitate towards your hook are going to naturally move towards the booth. But if you're dumping everything you've got as they're walking by, like you said, it's going to destroy you because they're just at this window shopping phase. They're not ready for all the facts and the figures and the details. They're just trying to see what's exciting and what piques their interest. So you're at the
Well,
hook phase.
yeah.
What's your pain? We might have an answer. What's your pain? We might have an answer. And you have to master that, not just for the trade show booth, but when you're promoting out to the world and you're out there communicating and doing the interruption advertising style, you need to be tossing the hooks out so that the right people see that hook, gravitate towards it, and start moving to you to find out what you've got in connection with that hook.
Yeah. Well, and for me, the other big thing I had to learn was how to repel the wrong kind of people. I mean, because for me, the trade shows that I went to, I'm going to throw, I don't actually have hard numbers for this, but maybe it was like 1 in 20 were potential customers
Yeah, and then
for
you
my,
get all the talking toms, right?
and so I had to learn, it's like, okay, no candy, no giveaways, like no pens, no hats, nothing, because any of my legitimate customers, they didn't care about any of that. So all I did by providing that stuff was attract people I didn't want to, I didn't want to spend time talking to anyway. And when I did, one thing I noticed was I could watch actual customer people who I knew were my customers. They would see 4 or 5 people around my booth looking at the stuff that I had, and they would just walk right on by. And I'm like, and everybody at my booth are just looky-loos, like they're not people who are legitimate, real customers. And so I'm just like, all right. And I was able to, because of that real like visceral scenario, watching that happen on a number of occasions, be like, okay, I need to eliminate what is attracting the wrong people. And
Right? Yeah, enough is enough. Go away. I had another friend running a booth, and he said one year a retirement community came, and this lady in a wheelchair wheels up, and he's looking the other way, and when he turns around, there she is, just taking an armload of his tumblers, sweeping them into her lap, and then running away in her wheelchair as fast as she could.
Yeah, that's actually a pretty common thing. Somebody bringing their bag up and doing the whole sweep.
Right.
Uh, yeah. So yeah, when it comes to this messaging, it's like there's you have the clarity aspect, you have the targeting aspect, and that targeting goes both ways. Like you have to attract the right ones and repel the wrong ones,
Yep.
which is something that I think is probably one of the biggest issues that most business owners have is that targeting of a message. Is they don't want to feel like they're cutting off their opportunities.
Right. And then you point out to them and you're like, "Oh, well, everyone's your ideal client. Tell me about the worst experience you've ever had." "Oh, they're a nightmare. I lost so much money. It was horrible." "Was there any red flags?" "Oh, yeah, there was, but I just was looking for any job at the time." And you're like, "So you're saying you were having the same mindset that you have right now. And so you want to do business with more of those customers that lose you money?" "Well, of course not." "Well, there you go. Let's change that mindset."
Yeah. Well, I mean, and having this conversation helped me realize like how I've not connected the dots. How the experience that I had with the trade show booth are the exact same ones that any business has, whether they're doing social media marketing or any other type of marketing and advertising. Like they're the same exact principles apply. I was just like, when you're in that live scenario, you can see the response rates real time. Like
Yeah.
what's happening, and I imagine that I could probably actually start thinking of social media as kind of a trade show as well, because you have the same kind of instant response available. Like you can give somebody a specific and personalized message that demands a response, expects a response, and
Mhm.
and then see what happens. And then you can iterate and pivot from there and have real conversations with people. So that's actually a really powerful paradigm shift for me to think of social media, whether it's Facebook or Instagram or whatever, as really just a digital trade show.
Absolutely. Yeah. And your job is, am I tossing the right hook out there?
Right.
Is the
And
right hook going out? And you'll know, the numbers will tell you. And
yeah, they will.
people will blame the algorithm. "Oh, you have to post 300 times a day to be successful." No. No. If you post something so engaging that everyone that sees it stops to watch it, that piece will still go viral. You don't have to post 100 times a day. You don't have to post 400 times a day. You have to post the right piece of content to get in front of the right audience with the right hook, the right message, the right call to action. And then it starts naturally going out and the content finds the right people, because that's what the algorithms are designed to do. Is they're designed to help you find your tribe and bring them into you, but you've got to be creating the right content in order for that to happen.
So how does somebody like what's something that we can leave with anybody listening today, like to package up any of the insights and create something that's a little more cohesive, or some questions that they can ask about their own marketing efforts that will help them to unlock another level of growth?
Well, I think to me the biggest piece is the word you just said, and that's marketing. And for me, I have a real pet peeve because everyone thinks marketing is the act of throwing advertisements out to the world or throwing content on social media.
Oh, here we
But
go.
but the real meat of marketing has a job of one, well, before you get to marketing, you have to have a brand. And the brand is the soul and personality of your company. So if you don't have a defined soul and personality of your company, then marketing cannot do its job, because marketing's job is to make sure that the company is consistent to the brand, both internally and also in the messaging that it throws out to the world. But marketing in and of itself is not the act of simply throwing things on social media. That's promoting. That's that's totally different. But marketing oversees it to ensure that you're saying the right things that match with your brand. So if I would say the most important thing a person could take away from today's discussion is, one, does your company have a soul, or does it have multiple soul personality where, depending on the day and depending on the person, you're going to get a totally different representation of that company? And you see that a lot with small businesses where one day they're this, the next day they're that. They're a specialist in this. They've got 20 different things that they're trying to do depending on the moment, and they don't want to leave anybody behind. And so it's constantly shifting. But when you laser focus in on who you're helping, how you're helping, what sets you apart, why you're different, what your core values are, you start to identify this personality for the company. And then you can start to come up with these messages that you can toss out there that are true to your company. But when they're true to the company, they're also going to be true to your ideal client, because it's the messages your ideal client wants to hear. And when you can toss those right messages out to those people, it may be a room full of people and you toss that message out, 4 or 5 might gravitate towards you. And now the cool thing is you naturally repelled everyone else in the room, brought the right people towards you. Those are going to be your ideal customers. Those are going to be the ones you want to work with all day, because they match up and align with who your company is as an organization.
Right. They give you space to move forward because you're not fighting issues with customers that aren't a good fit.
100%.
So yeah. So easy. So simple, easy steps. I mean, one, figure out what your message. You figure out what your soul is. Like,
Yeah.
what are you like? Who are you, and what do you represent? What does your company represent? And who do you work for? And this is said a lot, but again, I repeat it. Can you describe their pain better than they can?
Exactly.
And then go out there and cast over and over again. It's like if you cast and you don't get a bite, you can update your lure, update your bait, whatever analogy you want to use, and you can cast out again and see what happens, and you can adjust over time and figure out what works. It's like, I mean, to use a fishing analogy, I don't know how many fishermen do you know that go out with a single lure and like that's it. Like the
Right.
people who are serious about it, they're like, well, we tried this one for 10 minutes, that didn't work, let's switch.
Yep. And the cool thing, I was doing this for an event recently. I had one message, tossed it out a few times, lukewarm. Same event, same objective, same content, but I just changed how I presented it. And that small change in how I presented it, all of a sudden people are coming in droves to find out more, versus before I'm getting lukewarm response. So it wasn't that the actual offer was bad. It was just that my hook was off a little bit. Like you're saying, you change that lure a little bit, you're still offering the same thing on the back end. You're just changing the presentation so that it more closely aligns with the words, the thoughts, the feelings, the emotions of your ideal people.
Yeah. Well, I think that's awesome. I guess the only thing that I missed here was I was hoping to get more of those brand logos. Yeah, I wanted to see some more stick figures and such.
I'll have to dig some more up sometime. But we're out of time for today.
We are.
So, all right. Well, thanks everybody. Tune in again next week to find out what we're talking about.
Thanks.